What happens when the unbeatable gets beaten? For just a few shocking seconds in Tokyo, the boxing world stood still as Naoya the Monster Inoue, the man who had never truly been challenged, lay on his back, staring at the arena lights. This is the story of how the most dominant fighter in boxing today almost lost everything, and then reminded the world why they call him the Monster. May 6, 2023, the Tokyo Dome. 55,000 screaming fans. The air was electric as Japan's greatest boxing champion prepared to defend his undisputed super bantamweight crown. In one corner, Naoya Inoue, Japan's perfect fighting machine, undefeated, untouchable, a three-division world champion with a knockout percentage that would make Mike Tyson proud. In the other corner, Mexico's Luis Pantera Nery, a former world champion himself, with dynamite in both hands and nothing to lose. The odds were astronomical in Inoue's favor. After all, this was the same Inoue who had systematically dismantled every challenger put in front of him. The same Inoue who had unified all four major world titles in record time. But nobody told Luis Nery he was supposed to lose. To understand the magnitude of what was about to happen, you need to understand just how feared Naoya Inoue had become. At just 30 years old, he'd already cemented himself as an all-time great. His previous fight against Marlon Tapales wasn't just a victory, it was an execution. For 10 brutal rounds, Inoue dissected his opponent with surgical precision, turning Tapales' face into an unrecognizable mask of blood and bruises before finally putting him out of his misery. What makes Inoue so terrifying isn't just his power, though his right hand might be pound for pound the most devastating punch in boxing. It's his complete mastery of distance, timing, and angles. The way he sets traps, the way he makes world champions look like amateurs. And on that night in Tokyo, 55,000 fans weren't there to see a fight. They were there to witness an execution, but Luis Nery refused to play his assigned role. With 35 wins and only one defeat, the Mexican knockout artist came to Tokyo with bad intentions. They call him Pantera, the Panther, for his explosive speed and predatory instinct. In Mexico, they still tell stories about his vicious knockouts, about opponents who never saw the final punch coming, about the unstoppable southpaw with thunder in his left hand. But Nery brought something else to Tokyo that night, something that didn't show up in any tale of the tape or statistical breakdown. The unshakable belief that he could shock the world. And in boxing, sometimes belief is the most dangerous weapon of all. The opening bell rang, and for the first minute, everything went according to script. Inoue pressing forward, Nery circling, looking for counters. And then it happened.
Seen spooked by the punching power. Oh! Inoue goes down! Nery with a first-round knockdown of the Monster!
A lightning-fast counter shot that nobody saw coming. Not Inoue, not his corner, not the 55,000 fans who suddenly went deathly silent. The punch landed flush on Inoue's chin. His legs betrayed him. His body surrendered to the laws of physics. And Naoya the Monster Inoue, the man who had never been knocked down in his professional career, crashed to the canvas. Inoue got to his feet. The fire in his eyes wasn't extinguished. It was fueled. What we witnessed next wasn't just a comeback. It was a transformation. In round 2, Inoue made his statement.
Trying to catch out of position. When Inoue commits, he's out of position.
Oh, there it turns the favor! Nery came forward, overextended himself. Monster caught him. Down scored from Inoue.
A perfectly timed right hand sent Nery stumbling backward, his equilibrium shattered. Seconds later, he too was tasting the canvas. But unlike so many of Inoue's previous opponents, Nery refused to stay down. He rose, defiant, ready to continue the war he had started. What followed was boxing at its most beautiful and brutal. Inoue, now fully awakened, launched a systematic dismantling of his challenger. Each punch calculated, each movement precise. The Monster was hunting. In the 5th round, another crushing combination sent Nery down again.
Perhaps an opportunity for Nery, but with them. Like that! With no reward! Down again! 30 seconds to go, facing one of the great...
Right there. Just found a little gap right there. Hips under. You see his eyes. He's looking right at Nery. See
to turn a punch over.
Somehow, through sheer will, the Mexican warrior beat the count. But looking into his eyes, you could see the realization dawn. he had awakened something terrible. Round 6 began with Nery still defiant, still dangerous. But Inoue had solved the puzzle. He had measured the distance. He had timed his opponent's movements. And then came the moment.
This will finisher here, Tim. There's the right hand has answered the question! Rumbled! And the monster has roared!
The perfect right hand that traveled just 6 inches, but carried the force of an entire nation's expectations. Nery's body went limp before he hit the canvas. The referee didn't need to count. It was over. The Tokyo Dome erupted. Inoue had survived his greatest test and emerged even more frightening than before. A monster who had shown he could bleed, and then become even more dangerous. What makes this night so special in boxing history isn't just that Inoue was knocked down. It's what happened afterward. How he responded to adversity. How he adjusted. How he conquered not just his opponent, but his own vulnerability. The greatest fighters in history, Ali, Tyson, Mayweather, all faced moments when they seemed mortal, when the aura of invincibility cracked. What made them legends was their response to those moments. On that night in Tokyo, Naoya Inoue joined their ranks. Not because he was perfect, but because when imperfection found him, he responded with perfection. The question now isn't whether Inoue is great, it's whether there's anyone out there who can truly challenge him again. Is there another fighter with the skill, the power, and the heart to make the monster look mortal? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Who should Inoue fight next? And is there anyone in any weight class who can truly test boxing's most perfect fighting machine?